Good evening and welcome to the NEXUS 9 GCSE Options Evening. My name is Emma Hass and I'm a Vice Principal at CSIA, and also with me this evening is Sarah Belshaw, who is Head of NEXUS and also a Vice Principal. If you have any questions at all during the course of this briefing, or any questions that you have afterwards when you're completing the forms or organising your interviews, then please send an email to options@cambornescience.co.uk. We're going to be recording that during this session this evening, so we'll get back to you very quickly with answers, and then after that we'll monitor that right the way through the whole process of options. So Key Stage 4 options, what is it all about? Well, basically a Key Stage 4 curriculum should always be broad and balanced and allow students to access anything that they want to do later on in life. So when they finish at school, going on to do their A-levels, going on to employment or training, and at university. So we put together a curriculum that ensures that students can have all of their options still open to them. Our curriculum is split into two. So we have a core offer that everybody has to do, and that is for everybody, regardless of whether they're on the NEXUS site or the main site, and they have to do English, English literature, maths, double science, and then a non-examined RE for everybody, PSHCE, PE, and careers and work experience. So what we're looking at the moment is the options part of that curriculum, and we're going to talk you through tonight the fact that you have to choose 4 options from a selection in order to take through to GCSE. And as well as GCSEs, which I think you now know are all graded from 9 being the highest grade down to 1 being the lowest grade, we also are going to offer NEXUS students a BTEC in sport. Now a BTEC is run at level 1 and level 2, is exactly the same qualification. Depending on the grade that you get will depend on whether you get a level 1 or a level 2. If you get a level 2, it's equivalent to the grades 9 to 4 at GCSE, and if you get a level 1, it's equivalent to a grade 3 down to 1 at GCSE. And BTECs now are considered exactly the same as GCSEs. They're not seen as a lower type of qualification. They are exactly the same and count in exactly the same way as GCSEs do. So please don't worry if you're thinking of taking BTEC sport. If you think it's not an academic subject, it absolutely is, and it's the same thing. When you get your BTECs, they're not graded like GCSEs. They are graded distinction star, distinction, merit or pass, and that's the same whether you get level 1 or level 2. That's how the gradings work. So when you're looking at how to make a choice for your options, you need to ask yourself some questions really. And I think you need to think about what you're good at, what you enjoy, and what you're likely to be successful in. So for example, if you take something like GCSE history, it's quite a lot of information in it, a lot of content about World War II. So if you're not really interested in World War II and you really don't want to learn the facts about that, then maybe something like GCSE history isn't going to be for you. And on the same level, subjects like history and geography have quite a lot of essay writing in them. So you need to think very carefully about, am I good at doing those sorts of things, and am I going to be successful in a quite a literature-based subject. The other question that I will talk about a little bit more detail in a minute is the EBAC, and do you want to take the English Baccalaureate? And we'll come on to that in just a second. And I think the other thing to think about is, what are my future plans? What am I likely to want to do in the future, and are any of the options going to help me? Now, we've made a curriculum to make sure that no matter what you want to do, the options that you take now aren't going to get in your way of doing anything. So, for example, if you don't take geography at GCSE, you can still take it at A-level. You don't have to have done it at GCSE. I think the only real exceptions to that are probably the languages, and if you want to study a language at A-level, you really must take it at GCSE. So the English Baccalaureate, what is it? Well, it isn't a qualification in its own right. It's a collection of 6 GCSEs. And in order to achieve the English Baccalaureate, you must gain a grade 9 to 4 in all 6 of those GCSEs. And they are English, mathematics, double science, 1 out of history or geography, and then a modern foreign language. Now, we offer French or Spanish, but if you happen to be a native speaker of a different language, then we may well be able to use that instead, as long as there is a GCSE syllabus for that qualification. So why would you want to take the English Baccalaureate? Well, the government aims to try and get at least 70% of students taking the English Baccalaureate in the country by 2022, and obviously we're very close to that now. However, as a school, we're not forcing anybody to do the English Baccalaureate. What we're doing is saying it's available to you should you want to take it. And I think the figures on here show you that students that take the English Baccalaureate tend to have better opportunities in further education. It's more likely that they'll stay on in further education, and it actually helps improve performance in English and maths at Key Stage 4. However, is that because of the type of person that takes the English Baccalaureate, or is that because they've taken the English Baccalaureate? We don't know the answer to that, but I just want to make sure that everyone's aware that you can take the English Baccalaureate, but you don't have to. But I think you need to go back to a previous slide when I put down, you should actually do things that you're good at and that you enjoy. Because if you don't enjoy it, then you're going to have to be studying it for 2 years and you're less likely to be successful. So I think you need to balance with, do I want the English Baccalaureate, with what am I good at and what am I going to enjoy? So just to make sure that you're aware, the English Baccalaureate, you have to take one of geography or history, and you have to take one of French or Spanish, and everything else is covered in your core curriculum. So this is an example of an option form, and you have to choose one from each option block. So you have to choose something from option A, something from option B, something from option C, and something from option D. Now this student who's opted here has filled in their options form, and they have chosen not to do the English Baccalaureate. They have chosen triple science, computer science, economics, and design technology. We then go on to another student here who has chosen to do the English Baccalaureate because they have got history and they have got French, as well as computer science and economics. Now, you've got to sit down and think very hard about what subjects you want to do and whether or not you do want to have the English Baccalaureate. But what's really important is that you have to choose something from Block A and from Block B and from Block C and Block D. And you can't choose two from any one option block. You can only choose one in each block. Triple science is in option block A and option block C to give you a little bit more flexibility, but after that you can only choose one in each block. What you can choose in additionality is GCSE further maths, which will be offered as part of the co-curricular programme. Now, we will have some subjects where there won't be enough uptake for us to be able to run it, or it might be a situation where a subject is oversubscribed and too many people have opted for that subject within that option block. We will discuss it with you if your choices don't fit, and nothing will impact on your future career choice. So whilst we're giving you a choice, there may be situations where you may not necessarily get your first choice in your option block, depending on if not enough have taken it or too many have taken it. And we will be looking at trying to minimise that, but we'll talk to you about that if that does occur. So how does the school help students with making a decision about what choices to take? Well, we have this evening, and then you will also be invited to book an individual interview with a member of the senior leadership team, and parents are strongly encouraged to attend that as well. Now, unfortunately, this year that has to be remotely, and we're doing that with the Parents' Evening software. So we're going to be sending some information out to you shortly about booking appointments, and you'll have about a 15 to 20 minute interview where we can talk through what you might want to do in the future, what you like, what you don't like. Often there's a little bit of conflict between parents and students about what options they should take, and so we're able to discuss that and give you some guidance on how that might happen. We also want to make sure that our students are successful and that they're happy in whatever they do. So what we think is really important is please think very carefully about what options you're going to take, because once you've opted for them and you get past the first sort of 2 or 3 weeks of term, we can't make changes, and you have to do those options for 2 years. There is no discussion about my child doesn't like this subject anymore, I want them to drop it. It is not possible. Once you've taken it and you've started it, you will see it through to fruition. We will also give you lots of support. So your tutors, your teachers, the pastoral staff at NEXUS, all of those people will support you through the 2 years of your Key Stage 4. We'll communicate with you with parents, and we will do a lot more sort of tracking and monitoring of attainment data as we go through at regular intervals all the way through Key Stage 4. So that at every point of time you should know what grade they're currently sort of producing in terms of tests, but also what grade we expect them to achieve when they take their GCSEs 2 years later on. So the interview, I've already mentioned a minute ago, will be with a member of staff, a senior member of staff, and everybody's had quite a lot of experience of doing this. It will be about 15 to 20 minutes, and it will be over the Parents' Evening booking software. So we'll send more information home to you about booking that. What I would say is we have had a few technical issues with the Parents' Evening booking system. You have to follow the instructions quite carefully of how to get onto it. But if it doesn't work and for any reason we can't see you, we're making phone calls instead. And so we're sort of saying to you, put it onto loudspeaker on your phone and we can still talk you through the process over the phone if that doesn't work. So there's quite a strict timeline that we need to stick to. So obviously you've got this evening, you've got the options booklet as well. Starting on the 22nd of February and running for 2 weeks, we will have the individual interviews. Then by the 11th of March, we need all student response forms to be returned to school. Now, if they can please be returned to NEXUS at reception for you, that would be great. And then by the 19th of April, so after the Easter holidays, at the latest, and it might be earlier than that, depending on how soon I can get it done, we will confirm your courses and the subjects that you've got for next year. Now, often I can get that done before Easter, but it depends on how the options process goes and how many clashes, how many issues we have, and how I can resolve that as to how quickly I can get that information back to you. So what I would say to you before I finish really is that there are some subjects that have posted additional presentations for you explaining more about their subjects. So please take your time to sort of peruse through those and have a good look, because they give you more information about what the subject at GCSE is about. But also please carefully read through the booklet which I sent out. It's really important. It's got a lot of information in there and it talks you through the process. And then when you've read through that booklet and you've watched all the additional presentations and you've had those conversations at home about what subjects you might want to take, then book your meeting once we've sent the information out. Please don't complete your options form apart from sections A and B until you come to your options interview, because a lot of time that changes. If you want to pencil in what you think you might do, that's absolutely fine, but please don't finish completing that before we have that meeting. Again, if you have any questions throughout the process, just email options@campbellscience.co.uk and we'll get back to you as quickly as we possibly can. We're doing that live this evening, so hopefully anybody sent in questions now, we've already replied or we're in the process of doing so. But please get in contact if you have any issues at all. It's a really important thing to get these options right, because it should be about what you're going to enjoy studying for 2 years and what's going to give you the best opportunities to go forward with your future.